everyone. Hope you're all having a great day, and we're happy you're here with us for healthy living for your brain and body. We're going to talk about some tips from the latest research. So we have with us today Diane Massey, and she is a master's level professional counselor and virtual community educator with the Alzheimer's Association. She first got involved with the Alzheimer's Association through the Walk to End Alzheimer's. She became involved in many of the educational experiences the Alzheimer's Association offers, and through these experiences, she realized that her own grandfather had suffered from dementia before his death. Diane is committed to living well in mind, body, and spirit, and doing her best to age as well as possible, and wants to encourage others to do the same. She also hopes to help others recognize and understand Alzheimer's and dementia so they can be better prepared to help their loved ones. And I apologize, Diane, because I'm seeing that was your grandmother who you passed from. And so now we will pass it over to you, and we really look forward to hearing from you today.
All right, great. Thank you so much, and welcome everyone. Good morning. Thank you for being here. As Kate said, I am very excited to be here. I am a virtual community educator with the Alzheimer's Association as a volunteer. And I did get involved originally because of my professional work and the field that I am in. And it quickly transitioned into a personal understanding that my family was experiencing something that we didn't understand or couldn't put words to. So it really did become more of my mission and desire to learn more myself, personally and professionally, but also help to spread the word and to help educate others about Alzheimer's, dementia, and all other areas around that topic, and what does that mean? Because a lot of times stories that I hear are very similar, that individuals didn't realize that their loved ones were experiencing dementia or Alzheimer's or another form of dementia. So thank you for having me today. And I think that you will be able to walk away with a lot of tips based on research from today's program. This program is designed to be about an hour, so we will work through the content. And if you have questions, you're welcome to put them in the chat or hold them to the end. And if we have an opportunity, we can respond to those. But today's presentation is, as Kate said, the Alzheimer's Association's program for healthy living for your brain and your body based on tips from latest research. And the program is designed to give you research-based recommendations about how you can take care of your brain and your body in order to age as well as possible. And this program, just so you know, is intended for healthy individuals who are looking for ways to age well. So if you do have concerns about your memory, or if you have Alzheimer's disease or dementia, please contact the Alzheimer's Association and speak with someone to find out about other programs that are available. And I just wanted to start off by saying that the Alzheimer's Association has carefully created this presentation and thoughtfully curated the content. So I will be delivering the content that they have developed in the manner so that all educators are receiving and presenting the same information, and so that all attendees are gaining the same research-based information and recommendations. So what we will be covering today, and hopefully by the end of the program, you should be able to identify the reasons for taking care of yourself as you age, as well as list some strategies to help you age well in the areas that you see listed there: cognitive ability, physical health and exercise, social engagement, and diet and nutrition. And I'm hoping that you also received the additional materials that come along with the program. And if you haven't, I know Kate will get those out to you. There's a workbook that comes along with this content. And while we won't be working through that workbook today, there are places in there for you to think about how you can implement some of the things you hear today and jot down some thoughts as you have them and put a plan in place for yourself. A part of today's workshop will also include some short videos of experts in the field of aging as well as from people who are finding ways to make small changes that add up and help them age well. So let's get started. All right, so we're going to start out by talking about the factors that contribute to how human beings age. And there are some ways in which we age that we all have in common, and many of these are outside of our control. So as older adults, for example, your hair starts to turn gray. I have my COVID gray going on. Our skin starts to wrinkle, and our eyes tend to focus less effectively while reading. As individuals, though, we each age somewhat differently, and how this takes place depends in part on our genes. So we're all genetically predisposed to age in a certain way. Some families tend to live a long time. Others tend to develop diseases that limit their lifespan. My grandmother, when she passed, she was in her 90s. My dad is getting ready to be 80, and he's the youngest 80-year-old that I know. So I'm hopeful and expecting him to kind of continue in that longevity. On the other side, I also have family members who disease seems to run in the family. Everyone in the family that I know has diabetes or heart disease or high blood pressure. And so some of those things are kind of beyond our control. However, there are many aspects that we do have some degree of control, and some of those are more aligned with our lifestyle or environmental factors that are associated with how we age. So even in families with genetic predispositions towards particular conditions, there are lifestyle and environmental interventions that may alter the course of those conditions. So we can start by adopting habits that potentially improve overall health. And these habits may help keep our bodies and our brains healthy as we age. All right, find my mouse again. All right, so let's start by talking a little bit about the brain and how the brain works. So the brain controls all of our bodily functions, including thought and movement. It is the control center for our entire body. And there are approximately 100 billion nerve cells or neurons in the brain. And they're structured like branches of a tree, and they create a network of pathways through which electrochemical signals are sent to form thoughts, feelings, and memories. Now, Alzheimer's disease progressively destroys those brain cells as it moves throughout the brain, and it affects more functions as it progresses. We've known for many years that the body and the brain are connected, and that what is good for the body is also good for the brain. Now science is able to tell us why this is true and what we can do to maximize health. Much of the body-brain connection is due to the fact that the brain is nourished by the body's richest network of blood vessels. The oxygen and other elements delivered to the brain through the bloodstream keep the body nourished. Each time your heart beats, 25% of the blood that's being moved through your body goes to your brain. So 25% goes right to your brain. So that's why keeping your body in good working order also helps keep your brain fueled to do its work. I had no idea 25% went to the brain. That's an impressive number to me. All right, so let's look at Alzheimer's, a little bit about Alzheimer's and dementia and what some of those risk factors are. There's many benefits to aging. If you ask someone who is over the age of 50 or 60, you may hear discussion of feelings about having an increased comfort level with who they are, being less concerned with the opinions or criticisms of others. In your 70s or 80s, you may hear people talk about the wisdom that comes with life experience and their appreciation of this perspective. as we age, there are changes that take place in our bodies and our brains. Many of these are to be expected as typical age-related changes, such as some decline in the way our brain processes information. And there are, however, some diseases that are more common as we age, and some of these will impact brain function. Alzheimer's disease and other dementias result when the brain is compromised in specific ways. And currently there are no proven methods to prevent, cure, or even slow the progression of Alzheimer's disease. There are habits, however, that help maintain or improve overall health as we age. And these habits can help your brain stay healthy as you age as well. So, although this program isn't specifically about issues relating to Alzheimer's disease or dementia, it is helpful to know some basic information about these conditions to understand how they relate to healthy aging and what we can do to help our brains and our bodies age as well as possible. And that's the kind of, you'll hear me say that over and over again. How can we help our bodies and our brains age as well as possible? So dementia is a general term, and dementia is caused by many different diseases, and each of those diseases has different symptoms. So the symptoms of all of these diseases have one thing in common. They compromise the way the brain works and causes a decline in memory or other brain functions that are noticeable enough to affect everyday life. Although dementia and diseases under the umbrella term are associated with aging, they are not a normal part of aging. If they were, everyone would develop them as they age, and we know this isn't the case. Everyone has a brain, so everyone is at risk, but we know that not everyone develops dementia. Alzheimer's disease is the most common form of dementia, accounting for 60 to 80% of all cases. So one form of dementia, what causes dementia, Alzheimer's disease, accounts for 60 to 80% of all cases. Some of the risks for dementia include age, genetics, head injury, cardiovascular factors, and fewer years of formal education. And we're going to talk about some of these risk factors in a little bit more detail a little bit later. There are some therapies that have been developed to help treat symptoms of the disease, and these are effective in some people for a limited period of time. However, they do not slow the progression of the disease. They treat the symptoms, but don't slow the progression of the disease itself. So the Alzheimer's Association offers many programs and resources, both in person and online, where you can get additional information about Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia. All right, so today we are going to look at 4 aspects of healthy aging. You can see them again on your screen: physical health and exercise, diet and nutrition, cognitive activity, and social engagement. Now, some of these things you may have heard before, but it will be a good reminder. Some of them may seem like common sense, but maybe not to everyone. And other things will be new information, or you may discover a new way of looking at things. Everything that will be presented today is based on the most current research and what it tells us about changes that we can make in each of those 4 areas that can help our bodies and brains age as well as possible. So as we touch on each area, I want you to think about, this is part of kind of the workbook concept. Think about how you can apply the research to your own life. We want to think about things that you enjoy doing. Think about how can you make gradual changes. It's not all at once. And start now, regardless of your age. And you'll hear me say that many times too. Whenever you start, you'll be able to reap the benefits of those changes. So if you're able to, also think about how you might be able to use more than one of these areas to make some changes to get the maximum benefits for your of your new habits that you're going to be thinking about and introducing. All right. Okay, so first we're going to look at the area of physical health and exercise. So, of course, in this area, there's been quite a bit of exercise, research done on exercise and physical health and how it affects the brain. Many studies indicate that engaging in physical activity is associated with a lower risk of cognitive decline. So many researchers have said that if people could just choose one thing to do to improve their brain functioning, it should be exercise. Some evidence suggests that exercise may directly benefit brain cells by increasing blood and oxygen flow and by reducing other dementia risk factors such as high blood pressure, diabetes, and cholesterol. However, there's no one single recipe that works best for everyone. Most researchers believe exercise should be regular and on the more vigorous side, but other studies have shown benefits from mild activities such as walking. So remember, we said 25% of the blood gets circulated to your brain. So if you're keeping your body moving, you're going to get some of those increased benefits by increasing that blood flow. So we're going to take a look at our first video, and this is Woodley, and he is describing developing a new habit.
It's surprising how you can easily build up habits of just taking 15 to 20 minutes out of your day to go down, hit the treadmill, and just do it. Just do it. Just get on it, put my headphones on, and just walk at a nice brisk pace for myself, build up a quick heartbeat, quick sweat, and it's amazing how quickly I can go from 15 minutes to 20 minutes. And then over time, 30 minutes, and over time, 40 minutes. Before you know it, you're up to 45 minutes of walking, and even at a higher incline and also at a higher pace. And again, it's all about incorporating habits in the choices that we make.
All right, so think about your own habits. Is there an exercise habit or a new habit around physical activity that you could include or you may want to include? Now that the sun has been coming up earlier, my habit is I get out of bed, drink some water to get myself rehydrated from the night, put on my walking shoes, and go for a short walk before it gets too hot in the day. So those are just little things that we try and incorporate to get those regular activities built up. A habit of mine is to stand up from my desk throughout the day. I put reminders on my calendar to stand up every couple of hours just as a reminder to get up, or to stretch my eyes and look away from the computer. So little things like that we can build into our routine. We just have to build up that habit to do it. So are there things that you can start to think about and write down in your book or your notebook or wherever and think about, start adding little habits into your routine to start increasing your physical activity? So some of the things that we can do, the most important recommendation is to be as active as you can. They say sitting is the new smoking, right? So getting up and incorporating activity that you do and that you enjoy throughout the day is something that's going to really help you build those small habits. So if this is new, you want to start small. Maybe just, again, get out and walk around your neighborhood a few times a week, once a day. Take the stairs more often. Park your car a little bit further from your destination. I know we always look for the closest parking spot, and that always made me laugh when I would go to the gym. Everyone would be looking for that closest parking spot, but yet wanting to go in and do their workout at the gym. Park a little further away, whether it's one spot or, across the parking lot. Those little changes will add up, and research shows that 20 to 30 minutes of walking a few times a week can have health benefits. So that's really not that much. 20 to 30 minutes a few times a week can give you some health benefits. Participate in cardiovascular activity regularly. Again, this will help increase your blood flow to your brain and your body and provide that additional nourishment that your brain will find helpful. Research has shown that for most people, any additional movement is a positive change that can have an impact on overall health. So the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention have developed recommended guidelines for physical activities, and they have them on their website that will be in your workbook, but I can also put that in the chat a little bit later with that link, if that would be helpful. But basically, some of them there on the screen that you'll see. Move safely to prevent injury, right? We want to be moving safely so that we're not harming ourselves and preventing ourselves from being able to engage in that physical activity. So if you're riding a bike, wearing a helmet, making sure that you're preventing against head injury, or maybe there's other protective gear that you need to do if you're doing other activities, arm pads, knee pads, whatever it might be. Ask friends to join you. This way you can make it a social benefit for your brain and your body, while also getting support and continuing with that new habit. Remember, I said, can you combine a couple of these areas to get maximum benefit? So this is combining physical activity with a social engagement activity. Consider physical activities that may be mentally or socially engaging, such as taking a dance class, joining an exercise group, or engaging in a challenging sport such as golfing or playing tennis. And as always, you want to make sure you check with your doctor before you start any new exercise program. And again, remember, it's never too late or too early to start. Whenever you start, your body and your brain are still going to reap the benefits from that activity and engagement. All right, a few more things about I apologize. A few more things about what you can do around physical health and exercise. Studies have found that smoking increases the risk of cognitive decline and may increase the risk of dementia. Additional benefits of stopping smoking include lower risk of heart attacks, stroke and lung disease, better blood circulation, and avoiding exposing others to secondhand smoke. Avoiding excess alcohol. Alcohol has many effects. Although a glass or two of red wine is commonly thought to have health benefits, you should not start drinking if you've not already done so. And excessive drinking of alcohol has some serious negative consequences, including slow or impaired communication among brain cells, fuzzy memory and drowsiness, long-term changes in balance, memory, emotions, coordination, and body temperature. It can be a big contributor to falls and fall-related injuries in older adults or in anyone, and can react negatively with many medications, leading to potentially dangerous or even life-threatening consequences. All right, getting enough sleep, get adequate sleep. Inadequate sleep due to conditions like insomnia or sleep apnea can cause problems with memory and thinking. Another thing that you can do is, again, to avoid any injury to your head. Head injuries and falls can contribute to physical and cognitive difficulties. So again, make sure you're wearing a helmet if you're riding a bike or playing sports that could involve head injuries. Studies have found that regular physical activity decreases stress, increases your ability to manage stress, and leads to better overall mood. So you want to monitor your level of stress and take action to minimize it, and seek professional assistance to address anxiety, depression, or other mental health concerns. And be sure that you have informed all of your doctors about all of your medications that you take and have them reviewed by your primary doctor once a year. Finally, you want to find a physician that you trust and visit him or her on a regular basis. Follow up on all recommendations, and this is one of the best things that you can do to maximize your health as you age. All right, last couple of things here around physical health and exercise and what we can do. Growing evidence suggests that many factors that increase the risk of heart disease and strokes may also increase risk of dementia. These include high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, and possibly high cholesterol. Although there is good research being done in these areas, more is still needed. Here is what we do know. Research has shown an increase in the risk of cognitive decline and dementia among individuals with diabetes. Although diabetes has not been shown to cause Alzheimer's disease, there is a relationship between those who have diabetes and those who get dementia. Studies have also found that midlife obesity may be associated with an increased risk of dementia. Research done on treatments to reduce midlife hypertension suggests that they may also reduce the risk of cognitive decline. Studies have shown mixed results for the relationship between high cholesterol levels and dementia. We do know that a good cholesterol level is good for the heart, and what's good for the heart may be good for the brain. The best way to combat these health concerns is to get your cardiovascular factors tested regularly and work with your doctor to understand what the results mean for your overall health. Be aware of changes from previous levels to help determine whether changes are needed to help you stay healthy. African Americans, Latinos, and other ethnic groups that tend to have higher rates of high blood pressure, diabetes, and cardiovascular problems really do need to work closely with doctors to stay up on top of any medical conditions. All right, so again, think about your physical health and exercise. Are there things that you just heard or learned that you want to start applying to your routine? And while you're thinking about that, we're going to move on to the area of diet and nutrition. And again, we know that healthy fueling of the body benefits brain functioning, but there are many differing opinions about what is the best way to eat to maximize health. So research in this area of the relationship between diet and cognitive functioning is somewhat limited, but it does point to the benefits of two diets in particular: the DASH diet, which stands for the Dietary Approaches to Stop Hypertension, and the Mediterranean diet, which may be one that you may be more familiar with or may have heard before. So the Dietary Approaches to Stop Hypertension, or DASH, is a flexible and balanced eating plan. Studies have shown that the DASH diet lowers high blood pressure and improves levels of blood lipids, or those fats in your bloodstream, which may reduce the risk of developing cardiovascular disease. Because the DASH diet is a healthy way of eating, it offers potential health benefits beyond simply lowering blood pressure, including reducing the risk of osteoporosis, cancer, heart disease, stroke, and diabetes. The Mediterranean diet incorporates the basics of healthy eating along with other components characterizing the traditional cooking style of countries bordering the Mediterranean Sea, hence the Mediterranean diet. A research analysis of more than 1.5 million healthy adults demonstrated that following a Mediterranean diet could reduce the risk of death from heart disease and cancer, and may also reduce the incidence of Parkinson's and Alzheimer's disease. It's never too late to adopt a heart-healthy diet. Studies have shown that making these changes, even in later life, may benefit your brain health. So we're now going to listen to Dr. Morris talking about a diet that's been shown to help people age in a healthy way.
Foods that have been shown to lead to healthy aging would be fruits and vegetables, and in particular green leafy vegetables and berries, as well as limited intake of high-fat food items that you get through high-fat dairy and cheese and red meats, and also healthy vegetable oils So this would be olive oil would be a good example, have been shown to reduce your risk of heart disease as well as dementia.
So are there certain foods that maybe you can think about starting to incorporate into your diet regularly? One of the breakfast foods, I guess, that I've recently started eating more regularly is a combination of low-fat ricotta, some beets, and berries, strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, and kind of that combination gives you a lot of those things that she was just talking about. So there's simple ways of incorporating what she was just mentioning, talking about, green leafy vegetables, berries. It's just, again, thinking about how to incorporate those into your regular habits. So talking about what we can do. There are some simple ways to adopt a healthy diet that may benefit your body and your brain. And you probably already know this. We've just talked about and heard several of these items. But again, it's just a good reminder. And I know I keep reminding myself a number of times of the benefits of eating some of these foods. So on this slide, you can see there are suggestions that incorporate principles from the DASH diet and the Mediterranean diet, including incorporating vegetables into your daily diet. Those green leafy vegetables that the doctor was just talking about have shown to have health benefits. Eat a diet rich in fruits. Some studies indicate that certain fruits, such as berries, may be particularly helpful. Eating nuts and beans and whole grains. Eating lean meats, fish, and poultry. Choosing foods containing polyunsaturated and monounsaturated fats, which are found in nuts, vegetable oils, and fish. You want to aim for a diet low in saturated fats and low in trans fats. And you want to stay away from processed foods, deep fried foods, and excess sugar and salt. So again, think about your diet. Are there things that you can try to start eliminating? Things you can try to start adding? Now, in addition to foods, a healthy diet will help increase your intake of important vitamins. Some research has shown that vitamins such as vitamin E, or vitamins E and C together, vitamin B12, and folate may lower your risk of cognitive decline and possibly Alzheimer's. This research has resulted in some suggestions that taking dietary supplements will lower your risk. Dietary supplements and nutraceuticals, or medical foods, are made for those with nutritional deficiencies and are to be used only under the supervision of a physician. Labels for medical foods or supplements cannot make drug claims or state that they alleviate symptoms of diseases because they are not drugs as defined by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA. Many are created with little or no regulation and may be potentially dangerous, and we need to be aware of some of those false claims that come along with those products. With all types of supplements, it's important to keep in mind that they are not without risks. They are made of chemicals that may interact with other medications in a negative way, or they may upset the way that your body works naturally. Although they often cite research to back up their beneficial claims, the research has not been held to the rigorous standards required for medications by the FDA. Even with emerging research to back up claims, it can be difficult to understand what the research means to you. When getting information about a supplement or a vitamin, check with a reputable source of information about what research has been done. The best way to understand and address how to care for yourself is to discuss this with your physician. Work with a trusted doctor who understands your physical issues, and he or she can provide the best advice about how medications, vitamins, and dietary supplements may interact in your body. It is important to discuss any changes in medications with your doctor. All right, moving on. The next area that we're going to take a look at research about is cognitive activity. Cognitive activity is the term used for keeping our minds active. Anything that uses your mind in challenging ways is a cognitive activity and can possibly have short and long-term benefits for your brain. As you use your mind in new and challenging ways, your brain actually begins to form and nourish new pathways for connections among brain cells. The more pathways you have, the more nimble your brain is, and the better able you are to guard against effects of injuries or diseases that may compromise brain functioning. Studies have been done in which some people engaged in cognitive activity by playing games or reading material that was challenging for them. Those who kept their brains active in these ways could recall information that was recently learned and remember it later to a much greater degree than those who did not keep their minds stimulated through mental activity. However, we do not know all the reasons why staying cognitively engaged may be beneficial. More research is taking place today to further explore these questions. Research has been shown that engaging in formal education or classroom-based learning that is administered by professionally trained teachers in any stage of life will help keep your brain healthy and can protect your brain from developing dementia. Some researchers believe that this may be due to education creating a more robust network of communication pathways between neurons in the brain. Others believe that the difference has to do with education levels being related to socioeconomic factors, which are correlated with the risk for disease in general and access to medical care. So in this next clip, Dr. Bennett, who is the director of the Rush Alzheimer's Disease Center in Chicago, is going to talk about research in the area of cognitive activity.
One of the most interesting factors is cognitive stimulating activities, which basically for us just means mental processing of information. It can be from a book, it can be from the radio, it can be a magazine, it can be from a lecture, it can actually be from watching TV. All of these things require processing information. And the old adage of, use it or lose it is actually something that turns out, at least from the observational data, to look like it's true. So numerous studies now have shown that being more engaged in cognitively stimulating activities is actually good for maintaining cognition. And it's true in late life, and it's true in early life. And so what we recommend is that you start early, and if you're already late, start now.
All right, again, so cognitive activity and looking at some of the things that we can do to exercise our brains and keep our minds active. And you can see some of these things that are listed on the slide that give our brains some mental stimulation. We could work on building a piece of furniture or trying a new cooking technique or create something artistic, reading books and articles that are challenging to you and that are inspiring to you. Maybe focusing on topics of interest that provide you with a new learning or add to what you already know. You can complete puzzles and play games that are challenging for you. And this goes beyond just jigsaw puzzles and crossword puzzles that you find fairly easy. We're looking at wanting to try and solve a problem that has you stumped, or figuring out ways to approach a familiar task in a more effective way. It requires that you think steps ahead and make plans for adapting to changes that an opponent may make in a game like chess or bridge. So things that you may be thinking about, how can you learn new skills or pick up new hobbies? Learn something new that interests you and that you find enjoyable. You may want to learn how to play a new instrument, or take up a new hobby like watercolor painting or playing chess. You can engage in ongoing learning or seek new opportunities in formal education. This could involve taking a class at a local college or community center that teaches about a new topic, a new skill, or a new hobby. You can also encourage and help your children and your grandchildren to get as much formal education as possible. There may be clubs in your area that you could find and join that has a common interest of yours. And some of these things, again, have that double benefit where you can keep your mind active while also being socially engaged. While brain training activities, such as the computer games that aim to improve memory and attention span, are an exciting area of research, none of these activities are proven to buffer against Alzheimer's disease. Be cautious of commercially marketed brain games with big claims and promises. One of the best ways to stretch your mind and help your brain be as resilient as possible is to consistently engage in activities that involve learning new things or solving problems. Be sure to choose activities that you enjoy to increase the likelihood that you will engage in them over time. So a couple of things I've been thinking about over and over again is learning a new language. That's been a goal of mine, and I keep going back to that. So maybe one that I try and take up again to get my brain stimulated and keep it fresh. The final area that we're going to look at is that social engagement or interacting with others in a social setting. This is the area with the least amount of research, however. But there is some research that indicates that connecting with others socially may benefit brain health and may actually delay the onset of dementia. Those who are engaged with other people also tend to have reduced rates of mortality and disability. Researchers aren't sure how, why, or if social networks may help keep the brain resilient against Alzheimer's disease. Some scientists say that the trait that enables people to build and maintain friendships acts as a buffer against cognitive impairment. Regardless of the reason, we know people don't do well in isolation. Just think of the last couple of years we've been through. When people are feeling good about their social networks, they tend to make healthier choices in other areas of their lives. And there are a variety of ways that you can connect with others and reap the physical benefits of social interaction. As always, pursue the activities that are meaningful to you. These will provide the greatest connection with those around you and will keep you engaged. Sometimes you can engage in an activity that combines areas of healthy aging, such as when you take a walk with a friend or volunteer to tutor young adults in your community. Find a purpose in your life, an activity or a connection that gives your life a sense of meaning. So now we're going to put all these pieces together. Each of the 4 components that we've explored has potential benefits for physical and cognitive health. Recent research, however, suggests that combining activities in all 4 areas may have the greatest benefit in maintaining or improving brain health. So Dr. Bill is going to talk about a recent study that is making a difference in what scientists are able to tell us about healthy aging.
Recently, at the Alzheimer's Association International Conference, there was a study reported of the results of a large clinical trial that was done in the Scandinavian countries. And in this trial, they took half the people in the trial and they adjusted their exercise level, their diet, their social engagement, and their mental stimulation. They developed programs for each one of those variables, changed all of those for the people that were in the test group, and the control group just lived as they had been. And what they found was that the test group had less conversion to mild cognitive impairment, which is a preliminary stage of Alzheimer's disease. To my mind, one of the things that this has done is it's changed the force of recommendation that we might make around the benefit of these interventions for prevention of Alzheimer's disease or for brain health. And the fact is that I think it's moved it from possibly exercise, diet adjustments, social engagement, mental stimulation are useful, to probably. And that's a big change and makes it easier for people to make those kinds of adjustments for the benefit of their future health.
All right. So as we just heard, studies tell us that when exercise, diet, and social engagement and mental stimulation levels are increased to a prescribed level, fewer participants experienced cognitive decline. So scientists are now moving towards saying that these interventions may make a difference. With more evidence emerging, they are able to say that they probably do, and a major shift, which is a major shift in the messaging that reflects the research. So we want to take a holistic approach to wellness as you age. Consider your health across many components, including the physical, intellectual, social, spiritual, emotional, and vocational areas of your life. You can make simple changes that will have a cumulative effect, helping you live as well as possible. So what you can do now, begin today. As we've said, it's never too early, never too late to start living in a more healthy way. Start small and big and build. Pick one area to start with and expand from there. Take your changes step by step. Do what you enjoy and stick with it. The more you enjoy the activity you've chosen, the more likely it is that you will follow up on your plan. Do something that you can manage in the time you have available now, and choose an activity you can stick with over time. Make healthy choices, as we just talked about. Exercise, eat a nutritious diet, reduce stress as much as possible. Make a plan. Use that workbook that you're going to receive to keep track of your progress, as well as obstacles that may hold you back and ways to overcome them. Think about how you can reward yourself for those small changes and the overall progress that you are making. Get support from others. Let other people know about the changes you're making and engage in activities that have a social component and celebrate those victories together with the people that you're including in your journey. And finally, have fun. Be sure that the activities you choose are enjoyable, and again, reward yourself for your successes. Aging can present health-related challenges that can take an emotional, financial, and physical toll. You can find many products on the market with medical or health-related claims that may be backed up by inaccurate or misleading research. These products and services may be expensive or time-consuming and can arouse false hopes in users. Some actually may be dangerous to your health. Don't let your desire for a cure or a quick solution to these challenges override your good judgment. These claims should be backed up by solid research conducted with a large number of people, research that has been replicated, and research that has been published in a peer-reviewed journal. Before trying anything new, consult with professionals who know your situation and who are reliable sources of information. Your personal physician is the best one to talk with about what your needs are and whether a product will be helpful or harmful to you. Local pharmacists are also great resources for information about drug and over-the-counter supplement interactions. The Alzheimer's website, alz.org, can also be helpful, and the Alzheimer's Association website offers up-to-date research information. So a couple of additional resources we wanted to make you aware of. The Alzheimer's Association has a 24/7 helpline. The number you can see on your screen, 1-800-272-3900, is available around the clock 365 days a year. Through this free service, specialist and master's level clinicians offer confidential support and information to people living with the disease, to caregivers, to families, and the public. Contact the helpline day or night to speak confidentially with a master's level clinician for decision-making support crisis assistance, and education on issues families face every day. Contact them to learn about the symptoms of Alzheimer's or other dementias. Find out about local programs and services, or contact them to get general information about legal, financial, and care decisions, as well as treatment options for managing symptoms. You can receive your help in whatever language you prefer. It has more than 200 languages through their bilingual staff or their translation service. So if you need something other than English, there are 200 languages that are supported. Online, again, the Alzheimer's Association has transitioned all of their in-person programs to virtual platforms. You can now take our programs either by webinar or phone. These programs are available to you again for free, and you can find more information online at alz.org. And you can see the list of topics that are covered on your slide. Another resource is the Community Resource Finder.org. By visiting the Community Resource Finder online, you can find local community living services, day programs, medical resources, and more. And whether you are in the area or across the country, you can find services to help someone living with dementia and make contacts that will help ensure the safety and comfort of those individuals. ALZ Connected is the association's very active online community for caregivers and people living with dementia. ALZ Connected online message boards have over 50,000 members who share their thoughts, questions, and ideas with each other 24 hours a day. You can browse the forums without having to create a profile, and in these forums, you can connect directly with other caregivers. You do have to create a profile if you do want to post a question or a message, however. All right, and finally, the Alzheimer's Navigator. When facing Alzheimer's disease, there are a lot of things to consider. Alzheimer's Navigator helps guide caregivers to answers by creating a personalized action plan and linking you to information, support, and local resources. So whatever your needs may be, you can find help online at several of the websites by calling the 24-hour resource line. And that is the content that I have to deliver for you today. Kate, I'm not sure if you have questions or if we wanted to respond to questions.
There were some questions, so I'm going to give everyone a few more minutes to put things in the chat. We still have some time. Thank you so much, Diane. And while we're doing that, I want to see actually if I can steal your screen for a second.
Yep.
I'm going to share mine. So I know what Diane talked about, there's a lot there, right? And it can feel very overwhelming. And I just want to quickly remind everybody how we can help you. So your Alzheimer's Association, great resource, but since you're Friends Life Care members, go to our website, go to Vigor here, and you're going to find things like exercise classes that Diane talked about in these past wellness webinars. You're going to find things on brain health. You're going to look at our current calendars. We have socialization opportunities coming up for you. So just keep an eye on what we've got going on. In August, we're going to be talking about the MIND diet and the DASH diet that Diane talked about. So just a reminder, you're not in this alone. And I'm going to stop sharing. It looks like we got a few more questions. So let me see what we can get to. Scrolling up here. Okay, Diane, the first question here. 65% of dementia is Alzheimer's disease. Could it be because it is the most researched and is overlapping with other types of dementia?
I think there's always more ongoing research. in this area. So I think the Alzheimer's Association is definitely looking for new opportunities, and there's clinical trials for individuals to be a part of research. So I think that because there is a lot of research around Alzheimer's disease, and they are still looking to find out more about some of the other causes of dementia, that could possibly be one of the reasons. But there's always more ongoing research that is happening and that needs to be done. So I can't say that would be the 100% reason for that diagnosis.
Sure. And a couple questions about the handouts. You will get them within 24 hours. They're great. Diane put a lot of information in there. So please look in your email in about a day. Sometimes it goes to your junk, so keep an eye there. Next question. Does prevention guarantee higher chance for not getting dementia? But if you carry the gene, can prevention alter? I guess the question is, can we change our genes if it's kind of carried in our genes by using some of these prevention strategies?
Yeah, great question. And a lot of the information, again, I will refer you to some of the resources online. I am not an expert in the research, a lot of the research and what that actually means. What this presentation was looking to really give you was information on ways that you could help your body to age as best as possible, regardless of what your genes may tell you. I don't know that we have the ability to change our genes, but the content of this presentation is to help you introduce strategies that may help combat some of those what people would say are inevitable, diseases or things that we may encounter because of our genes. So it's not a 100% predeterminant, but we can do things and introduce habits into our life that will help reduce that risk.
And I see another question here asking about studies. So maybe the slide that Diane gave us where we can kind of reach out for support at the Alzheimer's Association, that might be an option for you to call there and they could gather some studies and send you. I think maybe Diane, they might be able to do.
Yes, there's a lot of information online about the research, and that would probably be your best resource. I'm not going to try and say that I know all of the research or give you false information. So that would probably be our best suggestion.
Which I appreciated you covering too, because a lot of us are worried about this. And you talked about the fact that there are some kind of products and things out there that we might fall victim to because we really want them to work. And so making sure we understand what the research says is working. Somebody's asking about the recording. You will get that again in 24 hours. I think it will come from either Zoom or FLC host at Zoom. So again, check your junk box if you don't see it. And our final question, does your organization exist in Canada?
That's a good question. And I honestly do not know the answer to that. I think alz.org, I was going to try and look quickly, but we don't have the time for me to dig through the internet. I would go to alz.org and look there, or even call the 1-800 number, and they would be able to provide you with resources that are appropriate for your area.
Great. And I see a question about the workbook. Yes, the workbook will be included in those handouts that you get. So take a look for that. There's a lot in there, including the workbook. Okay. I think we've answered all the questions for today. So Diane, thank you for making the time for being with us. We enjoyed it.
Well, thank you. And I just put into the chat a few links. I know we're getting ready to close out, but these are a few links that we talked about today with the physical activity guidelines, the DASH diet, the Mediterranean diet, and some of those healthy eating things. So hopefully you'll be able to pull those off of there as well.
Sure. And again, for anyone who's interested in learning a little more about the DASH diet, in August, we will be talking about that. I believe the title is Nutrition and Hydration, how it impacts your body or something like that. So we look forward to seeing you there. But thank you so much for coming to speak with us today, Diane.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you all for attending.
Bye.